What do you think I am, a monster? Like, I've been doing keto for 11 years. Of course I got to a point where I was burnout on it. So I've got 7 things that you can do to avoid the keto burnout, to not be bored with keto anymore and not feel like, I'm just sick of fat, I'm sick of protein, and I want something different. Let's dive in. The first one is pretty simple. Challenge yourself with different forms of keto. You have to keep yourself mentally stimulated, but you also have to try different things that work for you. If you're getting bored and burn out on keto, maybe it's because you're not feeling as good on it as you used to. So try something different. You notice what I do on this channel all the time? I do different experiments. I've done plant-based keto, vegan keto. I've gone carnivore before. I've done higher protein, lower fat versions. Twist it up, change it up. Even do some different cultural themes. This is a really big one, okay? I've gone on stints where I really like to learn about how to do Asian cuisine on keto or Mexican cuisine on keto. If you do this and you allow yourself to learn and you allow yourself to go through these different styles of keto, it starts taking on a new life of its own. You're not just eating lettuce wrapped burgers with cheese every single day. Okay, now let's move in to the next one, okay? Number 2, focus on getting mental benefits. Okay, everyone's focused on this body composition, metabolism piece of keto. That gets old. Okay, we can only dig up so much research. I mean, new research is coming out all the time, but we can only do so much before we just kind of get bored with the same old stuff. So what I do to keep myself stimulated and keep myself kind of from getting totally burnt out is I focus on the mental benefits and focus on sort of the nootropic sort of brain effect of ketones. So what that means is rather than focus on foods that are gonna just stimulate fat loss, I focus on things that are gonna help my brain. Okay, so I leverage using MCT oil or MCT oil powder, or maybe I'll even mess around with ketone esters or ketone salts every now and then just to get more of a mental effect. Okay, or maybe even I'll play with nootropics. The thing is, I balance different things out and I start changing the game. Okay, maybe I'll adjust protein and increase fats and say my goal is to feel more mentally clear. Because a funny thing happens when you do that. If you start feeling mentally clear and feel better and you're focusing on doing things for your brain rather than just your body, then suddenly your brain feels better and the burnout isn't as big of a deal. Usually burnout is coming because you have all these different confounding factors that are just compounding and making it very, very difficult for you, okay? Other things that you can do that are in that same sort of mental wheelhouse, start implementing some fasting in, start playing around with saunas, start playing around with ice baths. Do these different things that are going to stimulate that brain performance and that BDNF that you're after. Number 3 is take a 1-month strict break. Focus on taking a break now and then. It is completely fine. 11 years of doing keto, yes, I cycle on and off of ketosis. But here's what's kind of cool. The funny thing is when you come off of keto and you start adding some carbs strategically back in and you do the right kinds of carbs, of course, and I have plenty of videos on this, I can link down to them below, or link out to them down below, but you'll probably consume less calories. Because remember, with caloric density, when you're consuming fats and proteins on keto, you're consuming a lot of calorically dense foods. So the food volume is pretty light considering how many calories you're bringing in. But then when you do switch over and you have some carbs for a month, and trust me, you will be okay, there's a good chance that you'll actually consume less calories. Because there's only 4 calories per gram of carb, but there's 9 calories per gram of fat. So by volume of food, when you're used to eating keto and all of a sudden you go back to carbs for a little bit, there's a very good chance that your caloric intake actually decreases. The hardest thing you have to combat is that, yes, you might have some blood sugar roller coaster rides that make you crave certain things. So yes, be aware of that, but if you take a 1-month strict break, you'll find that it actually reinvigorates your desire to go back onto keto and to actually enjoy it. And then you can do this endlessly. You can cycle on and off and it's gonna be okay. That way you're not feeling like you're just on a treadmill of keto all the time, just getting bored. If you want some suggestions for carbs that you can consume when you're off of keto, Thrive Market has a lot of really good options. So I put a link down below. They're a sponsor of today's video. So Thrive Market's an online membership-based grocery store. The cool thing is, even for when you are doing keto or when you're off keto, you can sort by different kind of diet type. So with carbs, for instance, you can sort by gluten-free. You can sort for baked goods that are gluten-free, or you can sort for baked goods that are keto. It just makes it super easy. So no matter what you're doing, you can have kind of a go-to for that. And then you can favorite that page or bookmark that page or save those items. It just makes shopping a completely different experience. So that link is down below and it'll save you 25% off your first order, but also get you a free gift. But you have to be using the link that's down below in the description. So thank you, Thrive Market, for the continued support on this channel. The next one is called fat cycling. This is really interesting. This is where you surge how many fats you have and you kind of go up and down on that. So here's what's going on. A lot of times the burnout that you're reaching with keto is because you're not really getting a whole lot of results anymore. So usually when people get started with keto, they have kind of a goal in mind, right? They want to lose weight. They want to have more mental acuity, okay? They want something specific, okay? But the problem is when you're no longer achieving that goal, like weight loss has stopped, or you don't feel like you're getting much mental benefit anymore, then what's the real reason to continue? You're just doing it to do it, right? Well, one thing I can say is that in terms of weight loss, if you periodically surge your fats up and down, it makes a pretty big difference. So normally when you're consuming a lot of fats, your body takes those fats and turns them into ketones. But if you say every other day reduce your fat intake by half, it forces your body to tap into your stored fat tissue much easier. So instead of spoiling your body and sort of giving it everything it wants and entitling it by giving it fat all the time, you're forcing your body to get, well, efficient and utilitarian at utilizing your stored fat. I found that this is a great way to reinvigorate weight loss, but also reinvigorate just how I feel on a ketogenic diet. It's very easy to just get stale and do the same thing over and over and over again. The next one is do some fat fasting. Fat fasting is where you do a traditional style fast, except you are adding fats to the mix when you do it, and only fats, no proteins, no carbs, just straight up like, I'm gonna do a fast, but I'm gonna have some olive oil along with my fast. Or I'm gonna do a fast and I'm going to have some coconut oil or something that's just a straight up fat. There's a study that was published in the journal Clinical Chemistry and Lab Medicine. Now this took a look at what is called PPAR alpha. Now what that is a nuclear receptor protein that gets acted upon by fat. So when this nuclear receptor protein is exposed to high amounts of fat, not in the presence of insulin, like when we're fasting or when we're fat fasting and adding even more fat, well, that PPAR alpha gets activated and it travels to the nucleus of a cell and it allows that cell to express genes that make it very good at using fats. So here's what kind of happens when you're doing ketosis for a while. Your body gets efficient at utilizing ketones and fat, so it doesn't have to produce as many ketones. So you might notice your ketone levels even drop. And if you're not measuring them, you might feel that your ketone levels are dropping, meaning you don't feel like you're getting all the benefits you got from keto when you started because your ketone levels are lower. I always say you shouldn't chase ketones, you should chase results. Because as someone that's been doing keto for 11 years, my ketone levels are pretty low because my body's gotten very efficient at them. But when I do a fat fast, it forces my body to produce ketones because nothing else is present other than fats coming in, driving up ketone formation. The reason that I suggest doing this if you start getting burnt out is because it can reinvigorate that feeling you got when you started. It brings your ketone levels up higher than you're used to, and it allows you to get those benefits again. You start feeling mentally clear. You start feeling like, oh my gosh, maybe this is making me feel better. Maybe I feel more lively. Maybe I don't feel as like stiff. It does potentially make a difference, and especially if you cycle in and out and just kind of try it now and then. So try doing 16 hours, 20 hours, 24 hours, and just add some coconut oil during your fast. It's pretty amazing what it can do, and it might just help your cells get more efficient again at using ketones, so maybe you get some of the benefits back that you lost. Next up is doing a different workout style. Okay, try doing different workout styles that utilize different fuels. Okay, if you normally do a lot of weight training, you're probably a pretty like anaerobic glycolysis type person, where your body isn't necessarily super good at using beta oxidation, where it's burning fats as a fuel source. You're still using carbs during your workout, even though those carbs are coming from a different form via gluconeogenesis or glycogen that's been formed via gluconeogenesis. But what you can do is say, okay, I'm going to start doing more low intensity cardio, and I'm going to condition my cells to get better at utilizing fats. You get a degree of fat adaptation that occurs with that. So whatever you're doing with your workouts right now, try switching it up and you'll be amazed at how it makes your diet feel different. The next one is the last one, and it's sort of a two-parter because it can go either direction. One direction is stop obsessing about keto, make it a casual lifestyle, and just do it to do it. Don't worry about it, just do it. The other side, depending on how you function, is get obsessed. Because maybe you're in this gray area where you're kind of interested in it and you just want some of the benefits and you just want to extract some of the weight loss and extract some of the benefits, but you don't really want to know about what's really going on. Okay, if you're sitting in that gray area, that's a great way to get burnout. You either throw it all aside and you just do it and just have fun, or you get obsessed, like I did. I got obsessed with the science and really have fun with it. Then I feel like I'm constantly educating myself and it excites me. I'm not gonna lie, I get bored, I get burnout, but when I find new research that gives me another tool, then it is like reinvigorated and I'm not burnt out anymore. And quite frankly, I think a lot of my videos are that tool for many people that have been doing keto for a very long time. They get their little bit of inspiration and motivation from my videos by giving them new science. Well, guess what? I'm getting motivated just like you are. I'll see you tomorrow.